The sun had barely kissed the horizon when Nayeli stood at the edge of the lake, her bare feet sinking into the cool morning sand. At 24, she carried a resilience forged by years of hardship, yet her eyes held the gentle curiosity of a child. The lake mirrored the sky's soft pinks and oranges, and in its reflection, she imagined a life she could call her own, a sanctuary built with her own hands, where laughter and hope could flourish. Nayeli had grown up in a small Apache community, surrounded by stories of ancestors who had survived against impossible odds, yet she always felt a calling towards something more, a desire to create, to build, to leave a mark that was both tangible and soulful. For months, she had been gathering materials. Driftwood from the lake, stones from the surrounding hills, and fallen pine for the walls. The townspeople often shook their heads, questioning her audacity. A girl alone, trying to build a house by the lake. "You'll get hurt," they said. But Nayeli's resolve was unshakable. Each log she placed, each stone she laid, carried the weight of her ancestors' perseverance. She imagined the laughter of children echoing across the water, the warmth of a fire burning inside, and the comfort of shelter not only for herself but for anyone who might one day need it. One afternoon, as she hammered the last of the walls into place, a soft whimper echoed from the nearby bridge. She froze, listening. The sound was faint, almost desperate. Without hesitation, she dropped her tools and ran toward it. There, huddled in the shadows under the wooden bridge, was a small bundle, a shivering boy, perhaps 6 or 7, with tear-streaked cheeks and wide, fearful eyes. Nayeli's heart clenched. She knelt beside him gently, speaking softly in both Apache and English. "It's okay. You're safe now." The boy's name was Mateo, and he had been living under the bridge for weeks after running away from a foster home that had been more neglect than care. Nayeli wrapped him in a blanket she had brought from her house and led him back to her growing sanctuary by the lake. She cleaned him, fed him, and let him rest. That night, as the moonlight danced across the water, Nayeli sat beside Mateo and told him stories of her childhood, of her people, and of the dreams that kept her going. For the first time in a long time, Mateo smiled, not just a flicker of hope, but a full, radiant smile that seemed to light up the dark corners of his world. Word spread quickly about the Apache girl who had built a house by the lake and taken in a child no one else wanted. Some were skeptical, others inspired. But Nayeli paid little attention to the whispers. Her focus was on healing, on creating a home that would welcome anyone in need. She began reaching out to local communities, gathering volunteers who were drawn not by obligation but by the magnetism of her vision. Together, they expanded the house, building rooms that Mateo and other children who had nowhere else to go could call their own. It was during one of these community building days that the shocking discovery was made. Underneath the bridge where Nayeli had first found Mateo, volunteers uncovered a hidden tunnel. Inside were remnants of forgotten lives, lost belongings, letters, and photographs that revealed the stories of other children who had been abandoned over the years. The discovery was heartbreaking, yet it ignited a fire within the community. What had once been a place of sorrow became a catalyst for change. The town came together, creating programs for foster children, offering counseling, and ensuring that no child would ever again be left to face the darkness alone. Nayeli watched all of this unfold with quiet humility. She never sought recognition. Her reward was the laughter echoing from the house by the lake, the soft murmur of gratitude from Mateo as he learned to trust again, and the sense that she had sparked a movement grounded in love and compassion. One evening, as the sky blushed with twilight, Mateo ran to her with a drawing he had made, a picture of the house, the lake, and a bridge now filled with light instead of shadows. "This is our home," he said, eyes shining. Nayeli knelt and hugged him tightly. "Yes, Mateo. This is our home," she whispered, her heart swelling with an overwhelming sense of peace. Years passed, and the house grew into more than just a building. It became a sanctuary, a symbol of hope for the entire region. Children who had once known only fear and neglect now played along the shores of the lake, their laughter mingling with the gentle ripple of water. The townspeople, once doubtful, now looked upon Nayeli with admiration and gratitude. Her single act of kindness, the courage to take in a child no one else would, had transformed an entire community. One winter evening, Nayeli stood on the porch, watching the snow settle over the lake. Mateo, now taller and stronger, ran past with other children, their cheeks flushed with the joy of snowball fights. Nayeli's mind wandered back to that first day, when she had found him under the bridge. She realized then that the bridge hadn't just been a place of despair, it had been a crossroads of possibility, a turning point where compassion had turned tragedy into hope. Her story spread far and wide, inspiring others to act, to see the potential in small gestures of kindness, and to believe in the power of the human heart. Yet Nayeli remained humble. She understood that true impact is not measured by accolades or recognition but by the quiet, daily acts of love that ripple outward, touching lives in ways we can scarcely imagine. On the anniversary of the house's completion, the community gathered by the lake. Fires burned warmly, music floated through the crisp air, and children danced under the twilight sky. Nayeli stood with Matteo beside her, looking at the house, a testament to resilience, love, and the extraordinary difference one person can make. As the sun dipped below the horizon, she whispered a prayer of gratitude, not for herself, but for all those who had dared to believe in hope when the world seemed dark. And in that moment, under the vast expanse of stars, everyone who had been touched by Nayeli's courage realized something profound. It takes only one brave heart to illuminate the shadows, and when we open our homes, and our hearts, to those in need, the world becomes a little brighter, a little kinder, and infinitely more beautiful. The house by the lake remained a beacon of hope for generations to come, a reminder that even in the quietest corners of life, compassion has the power to transform the ordinary into the extraordinary. Nayeli never forgot the moment she first found Matteo, shivering and alone under the bridge. It had been a moment that changed her life, and countless others, forever. In the end, it was not just a house that had been built, but a legacy of love, resilience, and the boundless capacity of the human spirit to care. And so, the lake reflected more than the sky, it reflected a community reborn, a girl who dared to dream, and the truth that sometimes, the most profound miracles come from simply opening your heart. This story is structured to be read aloud in roughly 5 to 10 minutes at a steady pace, emotionally engaging with universal themes of kindness, resilience, and transformative impact.